Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayo Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naischiki. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vyasa Mahamuni ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, yesterday's class, I have also sent a summary of yesterday's class in PPT form. I hope you must have all received it by now. Even today's class also, I will send you the important points after this class. So yesterday we were all into, relishing the Vipralamba Bhava, where the devotees are, in separation or probable separation. Now that the separation is going to happen, they were all crying and tears were coming, and how they bid farewell to the Lord, and how Lord reciprocated, and then how Lord went by passing so many other different cities, and that's how we stopped yesterday. And continuing from yesterday, now the Lord is actually entering Dwarka. It's today's chapter, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. Now, before we start this chapter, I want to give a little recap of why are the residents of Dwarka feeling so overwhelmed. Because for a long time, Lord was absent in Dwarka. He was not there. Now, why did this happen is because the Lord first went to visit the Pandavas when they were in Viratnagar. Because the Pandavas had this exile, 12 years of exile, and last 1 year was the incognito. So they were in Viratnagar. Then finally Duryodhan comes there, and then everybody comes to know they are there. So then they say that we have completed our exile, so now it's okay. But Duryodhan says, no, at the last day of the exile we have caught you, so you have to again go back for 12 years of exile and 1 year of incognito. So while such discussions were going on, Krishna goes to Viratnagar. So they are all having these talks, and Krishna says, okay, fine, I will go as a peace messenger to Duryodhan and I will try to convince him. So Krishna goes from Viratnagar to Hastinapur, and he tries to convince Duryodhan, but Duryodhan says, forget about giving half of the kingdom, forget about giving 5 villages, I will not even give that much land where Yudhishthira can keep a needle. So while Krishna was trying to negotiate and he went as a peace messenger, Duryodhan wanted to arrest Krishna. So then Krishna showed his universal form, and then somehow he left from that place. So then again Krishna goes back and gives this information that Duryodhan is not budging, so what to do next? So war was the only option. So now war means it's not such a simple thing. They have to plan the whole thing. So now there were months of planning happening. How the war will go, what will happen, who will be on which side. So they started approaching all the other leaders, other kings of different places, and the whole strategy was made. So it took a lot of time, and then finally the war was fought. And though the war was only for 18 days, but after war also Krishna stayed back. So he was there for a long time, and then we know how after Yudhishthira Maharaj won the war, they also performed Rajasuya Yajna. Now Rajasuya Yajna is not something like that can be performed in 1 day or 1 week. In fact, I was hearing from some sources that Rajasuya Yajna takes around 5 years to perform. So before the Yajna also there is Adivas and so many mantras to be chanted and purification, and then the Yajna, and after the Yajna also there are so many ceremonies. So that Yajna went for 5 years, and then of course the Kunti Stuti, and then passing away of Bhishma Dev, and then performing of so many rituals in Ganges for their ancestors, for those who died in the war, settling up the whole thing. It took a long time. So Krishna was absent from Dwarka for a long time now. He went meeting them in Viratnagar, and from there, after establishing Yudhishthira Maharaj and settling everything, Krishna goes to Dwarka. So now Dwarka Vasis, they are completely like not able to wait anymore to see their Lord of their hearts. Like we see in this Shikshashtakam there is this verse, Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravishayitam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. So the devotees of the Lord, even for a second, if they are not able to have Lord's association, they feel that it is millenniums and millenniums of years have passed. So now we can imagine devotees of the Lord who are simply probably connected to the Lord through Lord's katha. Sadhaka Bhakta also feel so much separation, then what to speak about those who had personal association, those who are related to Lord, how much they must be missing Lord. So here in yesterday's class we were like, Lord is leaving Hastinapur and they are crying. Now those were the tears of separation. Now here we will see even the Dwarkavasis are crying, but now they are tears of joy, come so much like they are so happy, at the same time they are unable to control their emotions. So the whole thing is now about the welcome party, how Lord was welcome, how Lord was embraced by them, and what exactly were the feelings of Dwarkavasis, how they offered their choicest prayers, how well they decorated their houses, streets, and how happy they were to receive the Lord. So here there are around 39 verses in this chapter. So from first to 3 verse is about announcement, the Lord will blow the conch shell and there will be an announcement, yes, the Lord is coming. And then from 4th to 10 is about how the citizens will welcome the Lord. And from verse number 11 to 15 there will be a description about the whole Dwarka city, how it was decorated, how the streets and elephants and horses and rangoli and so many beautiful descriptions. And then from 16 to 23rd verse is about reciprocation, how Lord will also reciprocate back when the way the Dwarka Vasis are welcoming the Lord. And then from the verse number 24 to 27 it will be about Lord's beauty, how beautiful the Lord is, not only his external form but even inside. He is such a soft hearted and such magnanimous heart he has. And then from 28 and 29 verse it will be about how Lord reciprocate with his mothers in Dwarika. And then from verse number 30 to 35 Lord's dealing with his queens, 16,108 queens, how he will reciprocate with them. And verse number 36 and 39 is about Lord's transcendental character. So now we will go one verse by verse. Starting we will read few verses, but later we will try to stick to translation to avoid delay. Sutta uvacha anartansa upa vrajya svridhan janapadan swakan dadmo daravaram tesham vishadam samayan iva. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, upon reaching the border of his most prosperous metropolis, known as the country of the Anathas, Dwarka, the Lord sounded his auspicious counsel, heralding his arrival and apparently pacifying the dejection of the inhabitants. So, even before Lord has entered Dwarka, he announces his arrival. Just to please them, he blows the Panchajanya, that is the Lord's conch shell, just to make them happy. See, sometimes when there is a lot of intimate relationship, every moment of separation or every moment of waiting becomes so difficult. I mean, I'm sure we all also experience it on, in our small little way when we are waiting for our Guru Maharaj to arrive or somebody whom we are very attached to. Every moment is, and now we can imagine here the interaction or the dealing is with the Supreme Lord. So how much eagerly they must be waiting. I'm reminded of this pastime in Ramayan when Hanuman goes in search of Sita, and then finally he finds Mother Sita and he gives the ring to Mother Sita, and when he comes back he's so selective in even announcing that Sita has been found. He does not delay that line also, very selectively he makes that statement. He says, found Sita by me, found Sita by me. So he thinks, if I tell Lord Ram I have found Mother Sita, it's delaying it. even that much can the Lord wait? Maybe Lord will be so eager, because by the time I say I have, that I have word also, Lord has to wait whether I have found or I have not found. What are you going to say? So why to make the Lord wait so much? So the first word, even he does not say Sita has been found, because even if you say Sita has been found or Sita has not been found, again there also there is a delay of 2 words. So that is why he, grammatically he will speak wrong, but just to give pleasure to the Lord, he says found. Okay, who is found? Sita. By me is not so important. Sita has been found is important. So even that much delay he didn't want to cause, because he was worried that Lord may just leave his life, or he may just leave his body. Oh, Sita has been found or not found, So like that, here Lord is thinking that by the time I enter also, their hearts are like, heartbeats have stopped, because they already got message. Krishna has left Hastinapur. He's on his way to Dwarka. So every second and moment is becoming difficult for them to wait. So even before he enters, he blows his conch shell. And the moment he blows his conch shell, everybody who were dejected, looks like suddenly life has come into them, and they become so happy. Okay, Lord has come. We can hear his conch shell. Next verse. स उच्चकासे धवलोदरादरो उरुक्रमस्याधरसो नसो शोणिमाम् दधामया मनः करकञ्जसम्पुटे यथाब्जखण्डे कालहंस उत्सवानः. The white and fat bowled conch shell, being gripped by the hand of Krishna and sounded by him, appeared to be reddened by the touch of his transcendental lips. It seemed that a white swan was playing in the stems of red lotus flower. Now, while this has been explained by Sutta Goswami, even he is also getting so mesmerized by imagining that whole scene. Now he's getting into more details of that particular event that Krishna is blowing the conch shell, just like we see in the cinemas. As soon as there is the entry of the hero, first there is a rough entry, and then slowly there is a zooming on his shoes, on his face, and yes, now he has arrived. So here he is zooming in on Krishna now. Okay, he has arrived. He has blown the conch shell, and how the conch shell is looking so beautiful in his hand, because the conch shell is white in colors and Krishna's lips are bimba flower, like a bimba flower, red in color, and now that red lips are touching this white fat conch shell. So it is looking like a swan, because Krishna's lips are like lotus flower, and the swans, they love to play in lotus flower, and Krishna's hands are like looking like lotus flower stem, and Krishna's face is blue in color. So it's like a lotus flower is floating in the blue water, and the swan is playing in that. So very nicely, of course, this particular verse has been described by so many different acharyas in more rasika way of how Sutta Goswami or Sukadev Goswami is giving explanation that how beautiful it is looking. And the most important thing, they say that because the white conch shell was touched by the red lips of the Lord, even the conch shell became red in color, or looks red in color. So this is an important point, because anything that is touched by Krishna will become spiritual, because Krishna is the Chintamani stone. So anything that comes in contact with Krishna gets the qualities of Krishna. Like we see the devotees, those who are in constant touch of Krishna, even they develop those qualities like Krishna in miniature, but they also develop those qualities. So anything that comes in touch with Krishna, even if it's material, it will become spiritual, is the essence of this verse. We see in the material things like a flower. When Krishna touches it, when we offer a flower garland to Krishna, it becomes Mahaprasad garland. We offer water to Krishna, it becomes Charnamritam. We offer food to Krishna, it becomes Prasadam. Anything that we touch to Krishna, it becomes spiritual, and it has so much importance, it has so much value. A normal flower garland you give to a politician, it has no value, but a flower garland which has been offered to Krishna, when it comes back to us, it is a Mahaprasad garland. In fact, other day I was hearing one devotee was sharing that how one particular devotee in the US, he has so much attachment to the Lord's Mahaprasadam garland that the last 30-35 years that he has been in ISKCON, anytime that he has got a Mahaprasad garland from the pujari or from any devotee, for the last 35 years he has stored those garlands, and in his garage he has put nails and he has hanged those Mahaprasadam garlands for last many years. So every time that he takes out his car from the garage, he touches all the Mahaprasadam garlands one time on his head, and then he leaves for his journey. Of course, like even we get Mahaprasadam garlands, but we touch it to our eyes and head, and then after some time we'll have to put it in the ocean or something. But this devotee has kept them so safely that this has touched the body of Krishna, so these are transcendental, how can I discard them? So he's been carefully storing it. So here in this verse is saying that anything that comes in contact with Krishna will become spiritualized, will become spiritual. And in the purport, Krishna is saying, Prabhupada is saying, everything becomes spiritually reddened like the conch shell in the grip of the Lord, and the Paramahansa, or the supreme intelligent person, plays the part of ducking swan in the water of spiritual bliss, eternally decorated by the lotus flower of the Lord's feet. Prabhupada is saying that similarly, even the Paramahansa devotees, what they do, they are also swimming where in the spiritual water, and they are like a ducks, and they are taking shelter of the lotus flower, and here the lotus flower is Lord's lotus feet. So the spiritual Paramahansa devotees, they are taking shelter of Lord's lotus feet. Actually, Lord lotus feet also has a tinge of red, or you can say pinkish red. The soles of Lord's feet are pinkish red. The hands, the palms of the Lord are pinkish red. His lips are pinkish red. So there are many parts of the body of the Lord which are red in color. We see it's again confirmed by so many Vaishnava Acharyas bhajan. There is this particular bhajan by Vasudev Ghosh where he mentions that yes, Krishna's feet are red in color. So there is this line, he says, Gauranga tumi more dayana chadibo. And in that line he says, Apana kariya, make me yours, Ranga charani rakhiyo. Ranga charani means under your red color lotus feet. So even he is mentioning that yes, the sole of your feet are reddish in color. So here Prabhupada is saying that in the purport that is what the Paramahansa devotees do. They always take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. That is why we call Prabhupada. Prabhupada means one who takes shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, or rather one who is always found near the feet of the Lord. That's why he's called Prabhupada. On the lotus feet of Prabhu or Lord, he is always there. That is why he is called Prabhupada. We'll go to the next verse. Tam upashrutya ninadam jagad bhaya bhayavaham pratyudhyayu praja sarva bhartra darshana lalasa. So now the citizens of Dwarka, having heard that sound which threatens even the fear personified in the material world, began to run towards him fast, just to have a long desired audience with the Lord, who is the protector of all devotees. So now what happened? As soon as the conch shell is, sound is heard, all the residents of Dwarka, they become eager, they just run. Maybe somebody is eating, he just leaves his and washes hand and runs. Somebody is maybe sleeping, he got up. Maybe somebody is cleaning something, he just left. Somebody is cooking, he just left everything. Everybody, no matter what they are doing, they're all running, and not normally running, they're running fast. They just want to immediately see Krishna. They don't want to wait even for a minute. And one nice thing said here is that the sound of the conch shell is so loud that it causes fear, But of course, for devotees, that sound is, not fearful. That sound is more like protective. When they hear the sound, they feel so protective. Yes, our Lord is here. Just like, to give a material example to this, when a policeman is walking around in a garden or somewhere, the law-abiding citizens will feel protective. Oh, the policeman is here, nothing to worry. But a criminal, when they see policeman, they'll be afraid, oh, why is he here? Better to hide somewhere. So those who are devotees, when they hear that sound, they feel, yes, our protector is here. They feel safe. But those who are not devotees, oh, they are afraid of hearing that sound, such loud, tumultuous sound, So here it says that that sound which threatens the fear personified in the material world. Actually, for devotee, there is no fear in this world, because the devotee knows everything is happening according to Krishna's plan. Now I'm reminded of this story. There was this newly wedded couple. So when they are newly wedded, so many people will invite them for lunch and dinner and all. So they were regularly going to one place to another, and they had to travel in the boat, go on the other side, and attend to those lunch and dinners. So while they were traveling in the boat, it suddenly started raining very heavily, and there was thunder and lightning, and the whole boat was shaking. So this man was very coolly sitting. So his newly wedded wife asked that, how come you are so cool, and how come you are not feeling restless or afraid, how come you are so cool? So he did not reply. He took out a knife from his pocket, and he immediately put the knife on his wife's neck. And then his wife was like motionless. So her husband asked that, are you not afraid? I am showing you this knife. He said, why should I be afraid of you? You are my protector. You are not going to hurt me. So similarly, the husband said that similarly, as you are not afraid when the knife is in my hand, because I am your protector, even I am not afraid, because I know that Lord Krishna is always protecting me. The world is in Krishna's hand. Even if things are not in our control, things are always under Krishna's control. So I am not afraid. So the devotee of the Lord, he is not afraid. In every circumstance, he knows that Lord is his well-wisher and Lord is going to protect him. There is this another pastime of a devotee called Ananta Acharya in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. He is the one who had started this beautiful garden at Tirupati Dham on the hills. So once, Ananta Acharya was such an exalted devotee that he used to have directly talking with Balaji. The deity used to talk to him on regular basis. So once it so happened that Ananta Acharya's service was to pluck flowers and make garland for the Lord. So once when he went to pluck the flowers, a snake bit him. But he didn't bother about it, and then he started making a garland. And when he went to present the garland to the Lord jokingly asked him. The Lord said, hey Ananta, I heard that today morning you were bitten by a snake. So how is your health now? So Ananta said, which snake? So which snake are you talking about? Then the Lord said, come on, the snake which bite you today. Then Ananta Acharya says, my Lord, I am not so much worried about that snake which has bitten me this morning. I am worried about that snake which resides in my heart. Then there is not only one snake, there are so many snakes of anarthas in my heart. And if these snakes don't die, I will have to go on taking birth again and again. This is what I am worried about, my Lord. And that snake which has bitten me in the morning, what's the big thing about it? If the snake has bitten me, I'll die. If I die, what's the big thing? I'll go to Vaikuntha. There I'll be taking bath in the Viraja Nadi, and again I'll be making flower garlands for you. And let's say if that snake bite is not going to affect me, then also no problem. I will take bath in Pushkarini and I'll serve you here in this material world. So for me, either here or there, I have to make garlands for you and serve. So what is there to be afraid of? So that is the devotee's mentality, because Krishna is their well-wisher and they have so much faith on Krishna. They are not afraid. In the early days of ISKCON, when Prabhupada introduced Narsimhadev's worship, and when Prabhupada was hospitalized and he told devotees that you do the Narsimha prayers and all, and after some time when Prabhupada came back from the hospital, he was surprised to see that Narsimhadev's picture was not there in the altar, it was missing. So he asked the devotees, where is that picture? So they said, Prabhupada, it is very fearful, because all his limbs are out and his intestines are out and all blood everywhere, so we are afraid that when people see that picture they will be. Then Prabhupada said, no, just like Prahlad Maharaj is not afraid. Hiranyakashipu was afraid of Nrsimhadev, but Prahlad Maharaj is not afraid, because Nrsimhadev is going to protect. So as devotees, those who are demons, those who are criminals, they should be afraid of Nrsimhadev. Nrsimhadev is going to protect, so we shouldn't be afraid of it. And he said, okay, put it again. They had hidden it behind the altar, and Prabhupada said, put it back on the altar. So like that, as soon as this conch shell has blown, and all the Dwarka Vasis, sorry, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So these Dwarka Vasis, they suddenly become like, immediately they are alert and they are running to see Krishna. And in the purport, Prabhupada is also mentioning about the gopis. He says in the third line, just as the gopis at Vrindavan used to think of Krishna while he was away from the village for cowherding engagements, the citizens of Dwarka were also immersed in thought of the Lord while he was away from Dwarka to attend the battle of Kurukshetra. So actually they were separated from Lord, but they were not separated from the Lord, because they were in constant association of the Lord by remembrance of the Lord. So even for a second they have not forgotten the Lord. The Lord is all the time in their memory, just like the gopis. Even when Lord went out for grazing with to take the cows for grazing, they were continuously in remembering the Lord. But at the same time, when the Lord was physically present in front of them, they were so eager to see him. In fact, we know this one verse in Gopi Geet, where the gopis say, Atati yad bhavani kananam truti yugayate tvam apashyatam kutila kuntalam shri mukham chate jada udikshatam pakshma kridrisham. They call Brahma as Jada. He's Jada. He has no brains, because he has given these eyes which blink. So if the eyes are blinking when Krishna is right in front of us, what is the use? That much time we are not able to see Krishna when the eyes blink. So this Brahma has no brain. What kind of eyes he has created? So they were so eager to see Krishna. So similarly the Dwarka Vasis also, they were so eager to see Krishna, though they are constantly remembering Krishna, talking about Krishna, hearing messages about Krishna, and they are having those paraphernalias which were used by Krishna lying everywhere, but they were still constantly hankering to see him. So here there's another interesting point. Prabhupada says that we may feel, right, that okay, Dwarkavasis, they could hear the conch shell of Krishna, the sound of Krishna. We are not having that much fortune to hear. But Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga, the conch shell sound of Krishna is in the form of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in Kali Yuga, this is the Shankanada of Krishna, So just like the conch shell drew away all the fear in the heart of the devotees, and they were so happy that our protector has come. Similarly, in Kali Yuga, when we chant Hare Krishna, then we can be confident that we are under the protection of the Lord. When we hear that sound, even our consciousness gets awakened, like this bhajan, right? Jiva jago, Gaura Chanda bole, Kota nidra jago, Maya pisachina kole. Actually, we are all sleeping in the laps of Maya Devi, and she's making us sleep and giving us so many allurement, giving us so many pacifiers and making us forget Krishna. But when we hear this sound, Shankhanada of Krishna, of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then immediately our consciousness gets awakened. Oh, what am I doing? This is not my real identity. So this is what Prabhupada talks about, and he says that we should take advantage of it. But there is a beautiful bhajan of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He says, Kali Yuga Pavana, Kali Bhayanashana, Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. He said, sing, Kali Yuga Pavana, Kali Bhayanashana, Sri Sachinandana, Gao He. Sing the names of Lord Chaitanya. It will make our lives purified, and it will remove all kind of bhaya in this Kali Yuga. So here the citizens of Dwarka, they are so happy. They are like, all the citizens of Dwarka awoke from a state of slumber because of the sunrise of Krishna. They all hastened towards him just to have an audience. The devotee of the Lord knows no one else but as his protector. Actually, this serving Lord in separation is a highest form of devotional service. We see in the Ramayana also, whereas Bharat Maharaj and Lakshman both are glorified, but the Acharyas glorify Bharat Maharaj a little more, because they say Lakshman was able to constantly see the Lord and serve and touch and feed him and look at his smile and reciprocation, but Bharat Maharaj for 14 years, he had served the Lord so sincerely. In fact, Bharat Maharaj, he didn't even go back to Ayodhya. He was staying in a place called Nandigram, which is in the outskirts of Ayodhya. Couple of years ago, we had an opportunity when I was submitting my PhD paper in one of those universities there. I had an opportunity to go to Ayodhya and in all those places in Nandigram, and one devotee was sharing something so amazing. The local devotee there in Nandigram, he said, Bharat Maharaj, he was not even sleeping in the ground, because he thought that my Lord Sri Ram, during his Vanavas, he is sleeping on the ground. So if I also sleep on the ground, I'll be sleeping equal to him. So how I can sleep on the ground? So he dug a hole and he was sleeping under that, inside, that I don't want to sleep equally. And he was also wearing those barks, and he was also, eating those roots, and, he was living such a simple life, and he was submitting all the annual reports to the Paduka of the Lord. So that was his mood. And in separation of the Lord, he was remembering the Lord constantly and serving him. So that is the highest form of seva. So here now these devotees, they become very happy, and they're all running fast to go and see him now that they have heard the conch shell. We'll go to the next verse. Tatropanita balayore deepam ivadrita atma ramam purnakamam nijalabhena nityada priti Fula mukha prakur harshagad gadaya gira pitaram sarvasu hridam avitaram ivarbhaka. So here the citizens arrived before the Lord with their respective presentations, offering them to fully satisfy and self-sufficient one, who by his own potency incessantly supplies others. These presentations were like the offering of a lamp to the sun. Yet the citizens began to speak in ecstatic language to receive the Lord, just as wards welcome their guardian and father. So now the conch shell has been heard, and now they all ran and they came in front of Krishna. And when they came in front of Krishna, out of that ecstasy, because they are finally seeing the one whom they love so much, voice is not coming out, what to speak. And even when they're speaking also, it's like a stammering, faltering. Sometimes it happens to us also in our spiritual lives, when we are right in front of a of a sannyasi or our guru or somebody, and right, and when we, many times devotees, they especially I see during initiations, when Guru Maharaj asks them, okay, come on, what are the 4 principles? Now the devotee has been practicing for 15 years also, no, what is that, meat eating, what? They'll be completely confused, and we're like, what is this? Why are you, that 4 principles you're not able to? But they are so overwhelmed by such close proximity, sitting right next to their guru, and the simple words also don't come out, which they know very well. They cannot, say those words. I remember when I took initiation, it was in the year 97, 98 in Atlanta, and I was a young girl, and I was very proud that I know everything, whatever Guru. And those days it was not that, initiation was not like counselors will take interview or somebody. There was an interview directly from Guru Maharaj only. He will directly ask you questions, and I was super confident that I've been giving classes in summer camp, and what will he ask me? I'll answer everything flawlessly. And I entered, and I was expecting that he'll ask me something, and I'll answer. And he asked me simple things like, do you know the Tilak mantra? And I said, yeah. And said, okay, come on, tell me. So, as by heart, I started quickly telling him, and then he started asking me in between, no, but what is here? But what is here? But what is here? And then completely I got confused, and then he said, you don't even know Tilak mantras, how I should give you initiation? I was completely embarrassed. No, I know the Tilak mantras, I'm doing it every day, but in front of him I couldn't, I completely got confused. So here when they are seeing Lord Shri Krishna, their language is not understandable out of love what they are speaking, and they've brought number of gifts. If somebody is a textile owner, he's bought some clothes for Krishna, and somebody's bought some jewelry from Krishna, and somebody's bought some preparations, and somebody has bought some pots of, so everybody is trying to give some gift to Krishna. And I mean, here there is one word he used. He said Krishna is Atmaram, Purnakam. He doesn't need anything. He's fully satisfied in himself. So it's not that he's hankering for the gift. But giving gift to somebody is not that when you give a gift to somebody, that person doesn't have it. It's a way to express your love, that you want to give something to a person. Like, oh yes, I remember you and I've brought something for you. So like that, they all wanted to. And of course, Bhaktavatsala Krishna, Bhava Grahi Krishna, he loves to take that Bhava when a devotee offers him something. So that is why he specifically in Gita also he mentions Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prachati Tadaham Bhakti Upaharitam. If you give that Upahara gift with Bhakti, then Ashnami Prayatatmana, then I take it. He becomes very happy. So Krishna wants to take that love. He enjoys when the devotees give him some gift, but with love. That is very important. We see Mother Sabari in Ramayana. She was also giving a gift, and which was the one which was eaten by her. She was giving the berries which were tasted by her. But still Lord accepted it because of the love content of the berries, even though they were tasted by her and it's not an etiquette. But still Lord accepted because that had love. And sometimes we may offer the best of the fruits, the costliest of the fruits, maybe exported or imported from somewhere, but still if the bhava is missing, Lord may not accept it. Actually, this berries, Sabri giving berries to the Lord is so so wonderful example, because berries are the cheapest fruits. In fact, even a banana is more expensive than berries, especially in India. In India, berries are the cheapest, like anybody can afford to buy some berries. So that berries Lord accepted, So just to show that it's not about the price or it's not about what you are giving, it's about how you are giving. What's your bhava when you are giving? So here they are so happy, and it's like there is one very nice line here, says that these presents were like offering a lamp to the sun. If the Sakshat sun is right in front of you, and if you offer a lamp to the sun, it's so funny. The sun himself is the source of all light. So it's like taking some water from Ganga and offering it to Ganga Devi. So this is what they are doing. But still, Lord is very happy because of their bhava. If the bhava is not good, Lord doesn't take that gift, even if that gift may be very expensive. Like we see in the Krishna Leela, the pastime of Syamantaka Jewel. Syamantaka Jewel, when Satyajit was wearing the Syamantaka money in his neck and then moving around, and he didn't want to give it to Krishna. He was so proud of it. But finally it so happened that his brother wore it, and he went to the forest and he got killed by a tiger, and then he blamed it on Krishna. Then finally Krishna went inside the forest, and then he got this Syamantaka money from Jambavan. And when he brought it from Jambavan and gave it back to Satyajit, now out of embarrassment, because Satyajit had given such a big allegation that the Lord had stolen the Syamantaka jewel, out of embarrassment, just to make the Lord happy, he said, okay, now I'll give my daughter Satyabhama to you, and also this jewel as a gift, you take it. But Krishna didn't take that gift because he was not happy, because it was not given with bhava. It was just like a formality sake, and Krishna says, I don't want it, you keep it. And because Satyajit kept it, later on he was murdered because of that Syamantaka jewel. Even when Krishna went as a messenger to Hastinapur, Duryodhan had invited Krishna for a feast. Krishna never went there, but he went to Vidura's house, and Vidura's wife was so overwhelmed on seeing Krishna. She was so happy that instead of giving Krishna banana, she was giving the banana peels to Krishna, because she was peeling the banana and her eyes were constantly looking at Krishna, and she was so ecstatic that she was throwing the bananas in the dustbin and giving the peels to Krishna, and Krishna was happily eating those peels. So it proves that it's not about what you give, it's about how you give. So these devotees of Dwarka, they came running and they bought all kinds of gifts for Krishna, and Krishna was accepting them very happily. And then there is one more line, says that they were receiving the Lord just as the wards welcome their guardian and father. So I have experienced this. I run a school in Vishakhapatnam. It's called Divine Touch, and at 1:30, it's a half day school, and at 1:30 when the bell rings and the gate of the school opens and the parents are all waiting outside, and you should see the way the children run to their parents. Their eyes are looking for their father or mother, and their father and mother are also looking for them, though all children are in the same uniform, their eyes are searching for their child. And that moment is so beautiful, the way they will run with their bag and water bottle, and they'll jump and climb on their father's lap, and the father's shoulder, and immediately the father gives them a hug, and that's such a beautiful scene to see. So here he is giving the same example. Sukdev Goswami is saying that just like a child runs to their father, like that the Dwarka Vasis were running to Krishna. They just want to embrace him, touch his feet, look at him. They were so happy. And Krishna is self-sufficient and fully satisfied. He doesn't need our gifts, but still if we give him gift, we are the one who are purified. Just like, Lord will accept everybody's service, small or big, everybody's gift, small or big. We see in Ramayana also, the elephants were bringing big trees. Hanuman was bringing big mountains to build the bridge to Lanka, and the squirrel was bringing little mud, not even bringing it actually. The squirrel was dipping in the water, coming out and rolling in the sand, and then again standing on the bridge and then shedding those sand particles out. And Rama was so happy with the service. So the whole point is, Lord becomes happy because of that loving service by the devotee, and he reciprocates. So in the purport, it is written that Lord is all cognizant, he is all blissful, and we cannot cheat the Lord. Lord understands very well what is our bhava when we give something to the Lord. We cannot be hypocrites in front of the Lord. We may act like, I'm very big devotee, but what is inside our heart, the Lord can understand. If we are giving those gifts with expectation of, dhanam dehi, this dehi, and, Lord understands very well. I'm reminded of this one story. There was this little boy, and he was playing, and his mother was making some laddus for him. And suddenly, the boy, while playing with the ball, he trips and falls down the staircase. So his mother comes, and he starts crying and loudly calling out for the mother. So the mother comes running, oh my God, what happened? Immediately takes him in the lap, cleans him, puts some sophromycin, and then gives him some laddus. The child is pacified and becomes happy. The next day again the child loudly cries for mother, starts crying, but the mother doesn't come. Again cries, the mother doesn't come. Then the child goes to the mother and said, yesterday when I was crying, you came running to me. Today when I am crying, why didn't you come? The mother said, well, yesterday you were crying for me. Today you are crying for the laddu. I can understand that. Because yesterday that was a genuine cry. I could know you were hurt and you needed me. But because I gave you laddu yesterday I gave you a laddu. That's why today you are again faking it so that I can give you more laddus. So your cry is not for me, but it is for the laddus. That's why I didn't come. So Krishna can understand. When a normal mother of this material world can understand, mothers are so expert. In fact, fathers sometimes they get bewildered. He's crying now, why don't you give? And the mother will say, no, you don't interfere. I know why he's crying. This is all acting. She can understand very well. Even though same tears are coming also, she'll say, I know why he's crying. You don't interfere in between. I know what he's doing. So if a normal mother can understand Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, we can't cheat him. What is in our mind, he can understand what we want. We want him or we want laddus of this material world, he can understand. And he will reciprocate accordingly. We'll go to the next line, next verse. Natasmate natha sadangri pankajam virincha vairincha surendra vanditam parayanam shemamichetam ichehatam param nayatra kala prabhavet para prabhu. The citizens said, "O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the 4 sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord, and inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you." So now the citizens of Dwarka, they are glorifying the Lord. They are saying, "Lord, you are glorified by Brahma, you are glorified by the Sanat Kumaras, by Narad Muni, by the King of Heaven, by sadhus." They're like confirming that you are the supreme Lord. They are doing a stuti for him. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, the supreme Lord is Sri Krishna. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita and other Vedic literatures. No one is equal to or greater than him, and that is the verdict of all scriptures. So we see time and again in the Bhagavatam, when the devotees are glorifying the Lord, they are confirming time and again, He is the creator, maintainer, destroyer, He is the supreme Lord, He is the all in all. So like that they are also doing wonderful stuti. In fact, there is this beautiful verse in the Suprabhatam also, where it is where the similar words are spoken about Brahma and about 4 Kumaras. So in that Suprabhatam verse number 14, they say that how in the upper realms also in Vaikuntha, even Brahma and the 4 Kumaras and Lord Shiva and all, they are eagerly waiting to see the Lord. In fact, they are just like sometimes in Janmashtami, with the crowd of devotees, like everybody is pushing each other just to get a glimpse of the Lord. So there up in the Vaikuntha also there is a similar situation. Everybody is like pushing each other just to get a glimpse of the Lord. And Jai and Vijay, they are standing with their rod there, and if anybody stays a little longer than then in their quota, then they get hit on their head by them, and they're asked to move, let the others have darshan. So similar is the situation up there. All are hankering to see Krishna. In fact, we know this famous pastime of how Lord Vishnu makes an arrangement of stealing the sons of a Brahmana, and finally Krishna and Arjun come up all the way. They go to Yamaloka, they go everywhere. Where are these 10 sons of Brahmana? And finally they find them in Vaikuntha, and they're wondering, why did Lord Vishnu do this? And he says, no, I just wanted to see Krishna, just wanted to see his beautiful form. So he did all this drama to get Krishna up there and see him. So like that, they are saying, oh, you are the Supreme Lord, and even Brahma and everybody is waiting to serve you, and they hanker for you. Next verse, the translation of the next verse. O Creator of the universe, you are our Mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, deity, worshipable deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. So beautifully, they are saying, oh Krishna, you are our Father, you are our Mother, you are our spiritual master, you are our well-wisher, you are our deity, you are everything. Just like this bhajan of Bhakti Vaibhav Thakur, it says, Manasa deho geho jo kichu more arpilu tua pade Nanda Kishore, Manasa, Deho, Geho, whatever, my house, my family, everything is yours. Maro Bira Khobi Jo Icha Tohara Nitya Dasa Prati Toha Adhikar. You have full rights on me. You are everything to us. That's what Bhakti Vaibhav Thakur says in the bhajan. So the Dwarka Vasis are saying, oh, you are our everything. In fact, on my several visits to Dwarka, what I enjoy the most is, when you go to the Dwarkadish temple in Gujarat, the way the devotees, the Gujarati devotees there interact with Dwarkadish is something really wonderful. When I went for the first time to Dwarka, I was a little bit aghast because I was standing in the line. So there are these two lines, very small temple indeed. So there are some gents line and there is a ladies line, and I just entered the temple. I was standing in the queue, and suddenly there was this lady behind me and she started shouting, Dwarkadish, 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 and I thought maybe something happened, but then I understood, no, it is their way of calling him. They're calling him, hey Dwarkadish, are you hearing? Are you hearing? And it was as if she's actually speaking to the Lord. And I was amazed by their devotion, because sometimes, after coming to ISKCON, we may have a very high attitude about ourselves. Like, I come from a Gujarati family, and we are Pushti Marak devotees. So, okay, from childhood we never had onion, garlic or tea, coffee, because we had Laddu Gopal Seva and all. Fine, great. But after coming to ISKCON, there was somewhere maybe a superiority complex somewhere in my heart that, okay, Gujaratis are okay, everybody is devotee, but Prabhupada has given us, we have that knowledge and that the preaching movement and that, being conscious about soul and body, and we follow so many, rules. Somewhere it must be there in my subconscious mind, and when I'm in this queue in Dwarkadish, these ladies are pushing, and my dirty mind, I was thinking in my mind, the way they are pushing, no Vaishnava etiquette, why they should push, so many things are going in my mind, and that superiority complex that Prabhupada has taught us, Trinadapi Sunichena, we should be humble, and I'm never going to push them, and even if they are pushing and going away, and so many things. But the way that lady interacted with the Lord, immediately all my pride was shattered. Okay, what devotion do we have? Okay, they may not have etiquette like us, and they may not be big, reading big books or philosophy, but such amazing relationship they have with the Lord. She was not bothered about who thinks what. She was talking to the deity, that's it. She was complaining to him. You know what happened? She was shouting on Dwarkadish, 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 are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I was completely embarrassed about my own thinking, that I was thinking that I'm so sober and look the way they are behaving and all, but they don't care who thinks what. Their mind is not about what people are thinking. They are only looking at the Lord, and they don't care what you think about them or what she will think about them. They are directly looking at the Lord and talking to the Lord. And I was like a slap on my face, and I understood, my God, you should not judge anybody by their external behavior or something like that. We don't know what level of relationship they have with the Lord. So what these people are saying here, the Dwarka Vasis, oh, you are my mother and father. Actually, literally, we can see that even in present day Dwarka Vasis, the way they talk to the Lord. For them, he is the king of that place, and they feel that it is his duty to protect them. It's not that he's doing a favor to them. They feel it is their right to ask him, did you hear what happened in my house yesterday? Are you sleeping? Can't you sort out this problem? Like, this is the way they talk to him. What are you doing? This is what has happened to me yesterday. And I was amazed, So here the devotees, the Dwarka Vasis are saying, oh, you are everything to us, my Lord. So we'll go to the next verse. Translation. Oh, it is our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your Lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness. So now they are saying that, oh, what good fortune. We are directly standing in front of you, and we are seeing you, and we can see your smile. Oh, what a good fortune it is. And we are able to see your affectionate glances on us. And it's not that easy to get your audience. Even the people in the heavenly planets also, you rarely go and visit them. So it's such a good fortune today that now we are directly there in your presence. So it's such an amazing feeling, and especially I like the word here they use, aho sanatha. Sanatha is, they are anatha, but now since Krishna has come back, they are sanatha. Oh, our Lord has come, our protector has come. So they are very happy that all the while we missed you, but you are back now. So now we are sanatha, we are no more anatha, our Lord has come back. So they are so happy. Go to the next verse, text number 9, translation. O lotus-eyed Lord, whenever you go away to Mathura, Vrindavan or Hastinapur to meet your friends and relatives, every moment of your absence seems like a million years. O infallible one, at that time our eyes become useless, as if bereft of sun. So here it says Kurun Madhunva. Kurun is Hastinapur, Madhun is Mathura, and Va Vrindavan. So here they are in a little bit like a complaining, you go off here and then you go off there and then you visit, so many foreign countries. You're just going away, and what's happening to us when you are not there? Our bodies are useless. Just like somebody may have very good eyes, but if there is no sun, we can't do anything with that eyes. If we are in a pitch dark room, can we see? Our eyes may be perfect, there is no issue with the eyes, but we can't see because there is no sun. So the Dwarka Vasis are saying, when you are not there, our bodies are lifeless. Though everything is there, our body parts and all, but we are lifeless. Without you, there is nothing, no pleasure, no happiness. We are like dead bodies. So now that you are here, they are very happy. And they also mentioned that in your absence, even a moment seems like millions of years have passed that we have not seen you. So finally they are so happy. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, as long as the sunshine is there, our eyes are useful. But in the absence of sunshine, the eyes are useless. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Truth, is compared to sun. Without him, all our knowledge is either false or partial. So it is like this. See, even in this material world, so many times we have seen these examples, Sometimes a couple, husband and wife, if they are very attached to each other, sometimes if the husband dies, within 3-4 months the wife will also die. Out of so much attachment, even if she may be healthy, no problem, but just cannot tolerate that separation. So even the normal people of this material world can have that high degree of attachment. Then what to speak about this Dwarka Vasis, when they are saying something like this, that in your absence one moment seems like millions of years. They are not saying it just to cause a poetry or to give some alankar, beautification of their statements that they are making, or to impress the Lord. They actually mean it. They really feeling like that, as if millions of years have passed. See, even in this normal world, we get so attached to people. Even if a child goes to America for studying or somewhere, after some time you get a phone call just to hear that hello, immediately the mothers will start crying. That just that word hello itself makes them cry. Actually, in this material world, we are attracted to our brother, sister, mother, father, or parents, or children, or wife. But actually, that attraction is also because of presence of Krishna in them. Because that attraction is because of the presence of soul inside them. And that soul is part and parcel of Krishna. No matter how beautiful the body is, if you remove the soul and after that you keep the body in front of the person, you don't have any feelings. In fact, even if somebody is your loved one, the moment the soul leaves the body, you start feeling afraid of that dead body. You may be just crying one moment that your wife has left you or mother has left, and after that you are like, please take the dead body, finish up the rites. In the night you don't want to even sleep in that room with that dead body, and just a couple of hours ago you were so attached to that particular body, but now that soul is missing. So the whole attraction is because of the spirit soul, and that spirit soul is attractive because it is part and parcel of Krishna. So imagine that some spark, something that comes from Krishna is also so attractive, then how much attractive must be Krishna, and whom they are seeing mukha-mukhi, face to face. The Krishna is standing in front of them. What must be happening to them? So they are trembling and shivering in ecstasy, seeing the Lord. They are so happy. Next verse number 10, translation. O Master, if you live abroad all the time, then we cannot look at your attractive face, whose smile vanquish all our sufferings. How can we exist without your presence? Upon hearing their speeches, the Lord, who is very kind to the citizens and the devotees, entered the city of Dwarka and acknowledged all their greetings by casting his transcendental glance over them. So they are complaining to Krishna that if you keep on traveling like that, we can't see your face, we can't see your attractive face, your smile, and your smile is not a normal smile. When we see a smile on your face, all the miseries are gone. Everything is vanquished. We immediately become so happy. So as they are, talking, so many things are, just like, somebody comes from a far off country, what happens, there'll be so many things to share. So there are so many things they have to share with him. And as he is walking and hearing and glancing and responding and looking and smiling, okay, and they're going on talking, and Krishna is moving further, and he's finally entered inside the Dwarka city. Next verse. As Bhogavati, the capital of Nagaloka, is protected by Nagas, Dwarka was protected by the descendants of Vrishni, Bhoja, Madhu, Dasara, Arha, Kukura, Andhaka, who were as strong as Lord Krishna. So now, from this text onwards, the explanation of the Dwarka city will start. How beautiful was Dwarka, how it was protected, and all those explanations will start. The next verse. The city of Dwarka was filled with opulences of all seasons. There were hermitages, orchards, flower garden, park, reservoirs of water, breeding lotus flower all over. It was very, very beautiful. There are waterfalls, there are parks, there are natural reservoirs. Everything is so beautiful. And there are hermitages. That means ashrams. So many ashrams of different sadhus. So it was a very, very beautiful, beautiful place. So Prabhupada says in the purport, the leaders of modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such natural beautiful gardens, but they leave the common man to reside in the congested areas without park and garden. So nice observation Prabhupada is making, that especially in New Delhi, if you see the leaders, the prime minister or the president, or their residential colony, the VVIP colony in Delhi, it's very beautiful. There are nice parks, and they have a villa, and around their villa also there are nice natural garden, big trees, birds chirping, very beautiful. But if you see the common people, they are living in pigeonholes. There is an floor above the floor, floor above the floor, 30 floor, 40 floors, and they're living in small pigeon houses, and there are sometimes no balconies also. In fact, actually, according to the town planning, anybody who makes any construction, they have to leave certain space for amenities, for a park or something. But the land is so costly, people will not leave even 4 inches land. From wall to wall they will make off a building. So as a result, there are no parks, there is no beautification, and because there are no trees and no plants, there is no oxygen, and simply this carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is released, and because of that there is pollution, and people are suffering. So Prabhupada is talking at length, he's saying that what is this? Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories to deteriorate the finer instincts of human beings. So nowadays we think advancement means how many factories are there, how many industries are there, but that is useless. It has so much adverse effect on our health, on our lifestyle, on our the whole thing is such a big disturbance. In fact, if you see in the Vedic culture, the way the whole lifestyle was in such a way that people had time to contemplate, do an introspection. They had so much time. Nowadays the life is so fast paced, they're not even getting a time to pause. See, in those days people used to travel by bullock carts. Now some people may think, oh, it's so slow, but they had so much time to contemplate because of that. Forget about bullock carts, even trains are better than aircrafts nowadays. At least in train, I remember as children we used to enjoy those green pastures and see so many houses on the way. But now traveling in flights is hardly any pleasure. You are just sitting in one confined place, and then again you are sitting in the plane, and then you get down. There is no interactions, and how the life has become so much fast paced. But those days, there was automatically people were able to develop the quality of patience and tolerance, because everything happens at its own pace. Even if you plant a seed, it takes a time, it takes its own sweet time to grow, and then you get fruits. So automatically, people had to be patient, they had to be tolerant, they learned that. But nowadays everything is happening so quick that people have lost that quality. I remember what happened, couple of years ago, somebody was telling that nowadays this 2 hours lecture nobody can hear. So we started making it half an hour. Then they said, half an hour, who will hear? Then okay, 10 minutes. So 10 minutes is too long. Just make a small 5 minutes clip, then people can see. So recently some devotee was telling me that, Mataji, 5 minutes clip, 5 minutes nobody can see. That is too long. Then I said, really? He said, yeah, 29 seconds, Mataji. More than that cannot. And I was amazed, my God, people's attention span, even that much time they don't have. In 29 seconds you have to give your message. Beyond that they can't see. But in those days the life was so beautiful, and it was not I-centered. The life was we-centered. There was a family. There was such a beautiful arrangement. Nowadays, if you see in these IT places, somebody was sharing other day that in this IT places there is not even a place for a puja room or a kitchen room in these apartments. They simply live like animals. Both husband and wife, they will just somehow live there, have food, run to job, come back, again have food and sleep. There is no happiness. Ultimately they fight and then they take a divorce. So there is no attachment to each other, because wife is also working out and she is not serving the husband so that he will get some affection for her. There is no exchange of any emotion. It's such an animalistic life. And then after all that hard work, they will take tickets and go to some hill station. So what's the use? Instead, if everybody can slow down a little bit and have a atmosphere in their house only by planting some trees, instead of living in those cement structures, and then go to a hill station. And nowadays even hill stations are becoming polluted because of too many people visiting. And then people tell, when you go to hill station you feel peaceful. Why do you feel peaceful? Because when there is greenery you are in mode of sattva, and in mode of sattva you become peaceful. But if the same thing is done properly, and the town planning is done properly, and if everybody's house there is a green cover, then everybody can be at least be in the mode of sattva. So anyway, so coming back, the modern lives are like that. Prabhupada said they are life centered around machines. And then here in the next para he says the impious trees are useless. Oh, he's talking about how people plant these trees which don't even give fruits, So that is how they, now recently in Vizag there was this G20 summit, So they have beautified the land in front of our temple. The temple is on the beach, and in between the beach and the temple there is this road, and they put so many trees, but none of the trees are fruit giving, because the whole thing is they worried that if they put fruit giving trees, then people may pluck the fruits. So Prabhupada said, what is wrong in that? Even if they pluck a mango and eat, what's wrong? But because they should not pluck the fruits, they are planting the trees which are not fruit giving trees. So what's the point Prabhupada is talking about? And then finally they will have fiber trees inside their offices. They will cut a tree, make an office, and then inside an office they'll make a plastic tree and a fiber tree to give you that look of tree. In fact, we are supposed to eat in banana leaves, because banana leaves have prana. So when we eat on banana leaves, it gives us a lot of nutrition. But nowadays they have a plastic plate, but there is a banana leaf drawn on that. Even if a banana leaf is drawn on that, it's not going to help us anyway. We have to actually eat on a banana leaf. So anyway, that is how the modern lives are, is what Prabhupada is talking about. And then he says, but whereas in Dwarka, everything was so wonderful. There were ducks and swans in the ponds, and lotus flowers were growing, and the cows were giving sufficient milk, and everything was going on so wonderfully. In fact, yesterday also we discussed at length about mother cow. I'm reminded of this very beautiful story. I'll share one story about mother cow. Once it so happened, there was this fisherman, and he was, as usual, he was fishing. So while he was fishing, he observed that the net has become very heavy. So he thought, oh, looks like I must have caught a very big fish. So with a lot of endeavor, he brought the net inside the boat. And to his horror, it was not a fish, it was Chavan Rishi. He caught Chavan Rishi in the net, because Chavan Rishi was meditating underwater. So immediately he asked forgiveness. He said, I'm very sorry, Sadhu Baba, I have disturbed you. I know. He took out the net and he said, you please go. And Chavan Rishi said, no, I'm not going to go. Since you have, instead of a fish, you have caught me, I am the cause of your loss. If it was a fish, you could have sell and make money. Now because you got me, you had a terrible loss. So how can I do that? So this man said, oh, that's all right, forget about loss and all. I have caused disturbance to you, please go. Chavan Rishi said, I'm not going. I cannot bear to tolerate that because of me you got a loss. So do one thing. If it was a fish, you would have sell and get some money. Do one thing, sell me and get some money. The fisherman said, well, I know how to sell fishes, but I don't know how to sell rishis. I have never done that before. Then Chavan Rishi said, oh, come on, it's a very simple thing. Do one thing, go and take me to the king. You sell me to the king, you'll get some money. Then he said, okay, that makes sense. So he took Chavan Rishi to the king. He told the king, well, look, I've got this Rishi in the net, so now he's my property. So I want to sell him to you, please buy him. So then the king said, all right. So he asked Chavan Rishi, so what's your price? How should I buy you? 10 gold coins? And Chavan Rishi got very angry. He said, how dare you? You think my cost is only 10 gold coins? Am I that cheap? Then the king said, no, I'm very sorry, not 10, 100 gold coins. Chavan Rishi got very angry. Oh, so you think I'm worth only 100 gold coins? Now the king got afraid. No, I'm very sorry, 1,000 gold coins. Then Chavan Rishi raised his voice. What do you think? I'm going to curse you. You think I'm 1,000 gold coins? Now he got worried. He was sweating. What should I do? He said, I'll give half of my kingdom. So Chavan Rishi thinks, oh, so your kingdom is so great that my cost is only half of your kingdom? He said, no, I'll give full my kingdom. He was not able to understand what to do. Whatever he says, Chavan Rishi is getting more angry. Luckily for him, or by Krishna's arrangement, some other sadhu came in his sabha at that time. Immediately he fell on that sadhu's feet and said, please help me. I'm not able to understand. How am I supposed to buy Chavan Rishi? What is the price I'm supposed to give? Then that sadhu said, oh, that you could not understand. It's very simple. You tell Chavan Rishi, I'll give you one cow. So then he told, the king came back and he said, yeah, I know what's your price. Your price is one cow, equal to one cow. Then Chavan Rishi said, okay, that is accepted. So now he sold Chavan Rishi to the king and got one cow. Now the fisherman told Chavan Rishi, okay, I got this cow, but what I'll do, I'm a fisherman. Fish is useful. For cow means what use is the cow to me? Then Chavan Rishi said, now that you have a cow in your possession, now give that cow as a donation to me, because I am a Brahmana. And if you give a cow donation to a Brahmana, you will be accumulating so much punya and you will get so much benefit that you don't even have to sell fish for the rest of your life. You will be blessed. So then he gave that cow as a donation to Chavan Rishi, and Chavan Rishi walked back with the cow, and this fisherman was blessed profusely because of doing that act of charity, giving a cow to a Brahmana. So that was the value of the cows in the Vedic time. Such an important, cows were revered so much and given so much importance. And of course, the sadhus were also so amazing those days that they could never even bear that because of them somebody else should be put into inconvenience. They were always trying to help others and induce them to do pious activities. So the Dwarka is full of hermitages. That means it's a healthy sign. The kingdom is healthy because there are Brahmanas who are going to give good advice, and when these Brahmanas are present, they will make sure that every citizen engages in the works of charity and follows religious principle, and that way everybody will be happy and live a prosperous life. We'll go to the next verse. The city gateway, the household doors and festooned arches along with roads were all nicely decorated with festive signs like plantain trees, mango leaves, all to welcome the Lord. Flags, garlands, painted signs, slogans, all combined to shade the sunshine. So it was decorated very nicely. The dwaras were decorated nicely. There were flags everywhere. There were toranas, rangolis, flowers on the street. Everything was so beautiful. There were mango leaves. It was like a special festival. Everything was painted. There was, in purport Prabhupada says, Garuda, Hanuman. They were all there on the painted on those flags. The next verse we will go. The highways, subways, lanes, markets, public meeting places, they were all cleaned, moistened with scented water to welcome the Lord. Fruits, flowers, unbroken seeds were strewn everywhere. So such a wonderful welcome. Not only highways, even small lanes were also decorated so beautifully with lots of flowers and fruits and scented water. Like nowadays, if any politician is going to come now, beforehand they will put that white powder on the road. So poor we are now, but in those days the king, especially not only for Krishna, even those days the kings also, they were welcomed like that when they used to come back to their kingdoms. Scented water and beautifully they used to be welcome. So coming to the next verse. In each and every door of the residential house, auspicious things like curd, unbroken fruits, sugarcane, water pots, incense, candles, everything was displayed. Actually, carrying of water pots, especially by unmarried girls, is very beautiful way of welcoming the guest. Usually in the Vedic culture, they used to have these unmarried girls carry the kalasha, which is water kalasha, and then behind them the brahmanas, they do the swasti vachana, and that's how the whole procession goes. Elephants and horses, and very beautifully the whole procession happens. And in fact, this pots also, they also represent actually the 14 universes. If you see, even in pujas we put those pot, they have this white thread which represents the 14 universes, and that coconut which we put on the pot is like representing Brahma, and the mango leaves which we put below the coconut is like the lotus flower on which Brahma sits. So it's all like a and that water which is there in the pot is like representing all the holy rivers in the world. So it's all, everything is having a significance, whatever they do this ritual. So everybody is dancing and singing, and very beautiful procession is happening. On hearing that the most dear Krishna was approaching Dwarka Dham, magnanimous Vasudev, Akrura, Ugrasena, Balarama, Pradyumna, Charudeshna, Samba, the son of Jambavati, all became extremely happy. They abandoned resting, sitting, dining. So somebody must be sleeping, somebody must be dining, everybody left everything. Even the elders of the family, like Vasudev or Akrura or Ugrasen, he was an old man, they also came running. They also went and welcomed Krishna. So this was so beautiful, the way they were welcoming him. The next verse. They hastened towards the Lord on chariots with brahmanas bearing flowers, and before them there were elephants, which are the emblems of good fortune. Conch shells, bugles, Vedic hymns were chanted, and thus they offered their respect, which were saturated with affection. So they not only went alone, they took elephants, and it was such a big gala procession. At the same time, many hundreds of well-known prostitutes began to proceed on various vehicles. They were all very eager to meet the Lord, and their beautiful faces were decorated with dazzling earrings, which enhanced the beauty of their foreheads. So even the prostitutes, they were also running. Now somebody may say, how come during Krishna's time also there were prostitutes in Dwarka? Like, why were there prostitutes in Dwarka? So even in those days, what was happening is that no matter, if the government has laid down certain rules, there will be always somebody who will not follow it. They'll be erring it. Though there are moral codes and conducts laid down, but there will be always some people who are more lusty. So now for these lusty people, instead of disturbing other people's family or other people's wife or other chaste ladies, they had these arrangements made to satisfy their lust. And here Prabhupada says that it's not about a prostitute or about everybody was, no matter what their profession was, but in their heart of heart, Krishna was their Lord, and they had complete attachment for Krishna. So just because they were prostitutes, we can't look down upon them. It was like their destiny, somehow they were in that profession, but their heart was for Krishna, right? Like I remember this this story. There was this one prostitute and one brahmana. When both of them left their bodies, the prostitute, she went to a higher planetary system, and the brahmana was punished by Yamaraj. So brahmana got very surprised. He said, what is this? I am a brahmana, I worship the Lord and all, and I am being punished, and this prostitute has been sent to the higher loka. So what did she do great? So then they gave him a recap of his life. They said, you both were neighbors. So all the time, while you were doing Aarti for the Lord, you were meditating on her. You were thinking, oh, see me, I am so great, I am doing, Lord, and I'll see that lady, shameless lady. So many men are coming and visiting her, and how is her life? See the music that is coming. Oh, they must be enjoying. So completely you are meditating on her as you are doing puja for the Lord. Whereas that lady, she was completely meditating on you. She was thinking that I am such an unfortunate person. See what a degraded my life is. But that pujari, he is worshipping Lord with so much love and affection. Don't know one day when will I get opportunity to worship the Lord like that? Will my life ever be like this? Morning and evening worshipping the Lord, offering the food to Lord. Such amazing life he has. So constantly she was meditating on the Lord, and you were meditating on her. That is why you got this kind of a result. So it's not about the profession, it's about the mindset. Even though they were prostitutes in Dwarka, but in their heart there was Krishna. They loved Krishna. In fact, there is Prabhupada gives in purport the example of Chintamani, the prostitute whom Bilvamangal Thakur was very attached to. And one night, when Bilvamangal Thakur's father expired, so on that night, he hurriedly wanted to go back to Chintamani, and she had thought that maybe today he will not come because he had performed his father's funeral. But he was so attached to her that even one day he cannot live without her. So though it was stormy night and it was raining heavily, he somehow floated on a dead body and reached the house of Chintamani, and he catched a dead snake and somehow climbed the floor and jumped inside the window and finally reached her. And she was shocked, and she said, if that much attachment you had for Krishna, you would have go back home, back to Godhead, the kind of attachment that you have for me. And that one line changed his life, and he immediately said, fine, I will go in pursuit of Krishna. And then he becomes Bilvamangal Thakur. In fact, even after leaving her, when he's on his way, he sees a lady with a beautiful hair, and he thinks his eyes are a problem. It's making me attracted to the lady. So he goes to that lady and says, Mother, can you give me 2 pins by which you hold your hair? And she very innocently gives the pins, and he takes the 2 pins and he protrudes his eyes, and he says, I don't want these eyes because they are making me distracted from Krishna. And now we are all listening to bhajans by Bilvamangal Thakur, Chauragya, Purushashtakam and Krishna Karnamritam, and so many such books and literature and poems by him. So he became such an advanced devotee because of one line of instruction by a prostitute. So her consciousness was higher at that time, that she could give such a wonderful instruction to him. So it was not about who is doing what and what is the external profession. It's about the mindset, what is there in their heart. So here Prabhupada is talking about that, how every kind of the old people, young people, everybody was running to meet Krishna. And in the next verse they talk about who all came to meet Krishna: the drama artist, the dancers, the singers, the historians, the learned speakers. Everybody came to see the Lord from different experts. And see, those days these dancers and singers and all, they used to glorify the king, not only for Krishna. Every kingdom had this kind of people who were expert in poetry and expert in glorification. But the only difference was, those days the glorification was not an empty glorification just to appease the king. They used to rightly tell whatever the king did, how many kingdoms he acquired, how he's protecting his citizens, how charitable he is, how nice he is to his citizen, what a kind heart he has. They used to glorify. And the kings, when they used to hear this kind of a glorification, they used to feel inspired to do more virtuous acts. So there was no hypocrisy that, okay, I'll give you some money, keep praising me. No, the kings used to hear carefully what they were praised for, and that used to motivate them to do that work more nicely. Okay, this is what I am appreciated for, I'll do it more nicely. So that's how the situation was. Go to the next verse. Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, approached them and offered due honor and respect to each and every one of the friends, relatives, citizens and all others who came to receive and welcome him. So Lord was also reciprocating very nicely. He also met them, approached them, and is asking, okay, how are you? And meeting everybody, and those who came to receive him, he was honoring them, respecting them, they were respecting him. It was a very wonderful exchange. So next verse. the Almighty Lord greeted everyone present by bowing his head. So I mean, just see how amazing Krishna is, like, humbly bowing his head, exchanging greetings, embracing them, shaking hands with them, loving them, smiling, giving assurances, giving benedictions to those who are younger, blessing them. So like that he was reciprocating appropriately with everybody. Prabhupada says in the purport that those who are intelligent person will take advantage of this facility offered by the Lord. So what Prabhupada is trying to tell here is, see how Krishna reciprocated with everybody, with those who are elders, those who are younger, those who are equal. So Krishna does not reject anybody. In the last line he says, no one is rejected by the Lord from the kingdom of God. It remains with the living being to accept this or not. Even a prostitute or a drama artist or an artisan, a dancer, a singer, a old man, a brahmana, a shudra, everybody Lord is extending his hand and loving. It is up to us. Do we want to accept it? Lord is extending this facility to everybody. So wonderfully Prabhupada is told in the purport. Next verse. When the Lord personally entered the city, accompanied by elderly relatives and invalid brahmanas with their wives, all offering benedictions and singing the glories of the Lord, others also praise the glories of the Lord. So now everybody first came to welcome the Lord, and now Lord is walking in with them. So all the elderly relatives like Ugrasena and all there, everybody is walking with the Lord. And invalid brahmanas means old brahmanas. They had come with their wives. So now the Lord is looking at them, talking to them, and together they are entering inside the Rajabhavan. When Lord Krishna passed over the public road, all the ladies from the respectable families of Dwarka went up to the roof of their palaces just to have a look at the Lord. They considered this to be the greatest festival. Like yesterday we were hearing that the ladies of Hastinapur, they all went to the rooftop, and from there they were looking at the Lord, following the maryada, the etiquette. Similarly here also the Dwarka ladies, they all went up to the roof, and they were from there they are looking at the Lord, and they are enjoying this great festival. So Prabhupada says here that there was no artificial equality with the men. Female respectability is preserved more elegantly by keeping the women separate from the men. They should not mix unrestrictedly. So actually this can be a class in itself. It's a very wonderful topic, but some other day our Prabhupada is talking about that there should be no free mixing of men and women. There should be some kind of a proper etiquette, and of course, so many other nice points that he mentions here. Next, we'll go off to the next verse. The inhabitants of Dwarka were regularly accustomed to look upon the reservoir of all beauty, the infallible Lord, yet they were never satiated. This is an important point. See, they were not seeing the Lord first time. Lord is their husband, their father, their brother, their son, their relative, their king. So they are regularly they are seeing him, but still the way they were looking at him as if they are seeing him for the first time. They are never satisfied. They never feel satiated. They never feel okay, fine. See, even in our normal materialistic life, if a son or somebody comes from the US, for a holiday or something, that 2-3 days will be so much excitement because he has come after 6 months from hostel. All will give so much importance. What should I make for you? What do you like? What this? That's all. After 3-4 days, it's back to normal life. Nobody will bother. But it's not like that with the Lord. They are not satiated or okay, fine, we welcomed you now. For every day for them, it's like a festival. Every moment they want to look at him, they want to serve him, they want to talk to him. They don't get bored. In material world, even though we show a lot of excitement, but we very easily get bored of people. Even if it's in case of visiting sannyasis or any leaders also, for some time there is that excitement. After some time it becomes slow. It's okay, I think tomorrow's class I have to miss. I have some other things to do. I'll come for the evening class. That excitement goes down if easily available. Somebody familiarity, But here it's not like that because Lord is familiar. They are like, okay, kal bhi mil sakte hai. They are like really excited to see him, and that excitement remains constantly. Next, now the Lord's beauty will be explained. From these words, the Lord's chest is the abode of goddess of fortune. His moon-like face is the drinking vessel for eyes which hanker after all that is beautiful. His arms are the resting places for the administrative demigods, and his lotus feet are the refuge of pure devotees who never talk or sing of any subject except his lordship. So now they are saying that the Lord chest, in the chest who resides? Lakshmi Devi reside. And how is the Lord's moon-like face? It is as if, if you are drinking a pot of nectar, how sweet it will be. Similarly, the Lord's face is like a vessel for the eyes. It's like a netrotsava. They are enjoying by looking at his beautiful face. And his arms, they are like the resting places for demigods. And his feet, they are the refuge of the pure devotees who don't like any other topic. They want to immerse themselves all the time in, in Lord's lotus feet and singing the glories of Lord. In fact, I remember there was this one very famous Tamil commentator on Ramayan. So he had written that in those days in Ayodhya, when people used to see Lord Ram, if somebody wants to explain Lord Ram's beauty to somebody else, they used to say, Lord Ram is so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful, just like Lord Ram. So because there was no other word that they could compare Ram with, so they used to say Lord Ram is so beautiful just like Lord Ram, because to what should I compare? Nothing in this material can be in comparison with him. So there is this one Lakshmanacharya, one very famous Sri Sampradaya commentator. He says that Lord is so beautiful that when somebody used to look at Lord's eyes, they used to simply keep looking at Lord's eyes. And those who used to look at Lord's nose used to simply keep looking at Lord's nose. So if you go and ask the person who was looking at Lord's eyes, how does Lord's nose look? He will say, sorry, I could not get that much time. My eyes were stuck only on his eyes. So I don't know how his nose looks. Or if somebody is seeing the Lord's shoulder, they are there only. They don't know how Lord's eyes look. So every limb of the body of Lord was so beautiful that the eyes get stuck there. So even if you are telling the eyes, come on now, let us see the other part of the Lord's body, but it cannot move. So beautiful is every limb of Lord's body. So here they are talking, that he's so beautiful. His arms are beautiful, his chest, his moon-like face, and everything about Lord, like this Vallabhacharya says, right? Adharam madhuram vadanam madhuram nayanam madhuram hasitam madhuram hridayam madhuram gamanam madhuram madhuradhipate rakhilam madhuram. He is an emperor of sweetness, and everything about him is sweet. We can't say this is sweet. Everything is sweet. His smiling is sweet. His walking is sweet. His talking is sweet. His eyes are sweet. His, everything about him. His clothes are sweet. His behavior is sweet. Everything about him is sweet. He is the emperor of sweetness. So like that, they are so happy seeing him. Coming to the next verse. As the Lord passed along the road of Dwarka, his head was protected from sunshine by a white umbrella. White feathered fans moved in semicircles, and showers of flowers fell upon the road. His yellow garments and garlands of flowers made it appear as if a dark cloud was surrounded simultaneously by sun, moon, lighting, and rainbows. So here, as the Lord is walking, it's not that he's simply walking, it's like a beautiful procession. Somebody is holding an umbrella, and there are two people on the side. They are fanning him, in semicircles, and the flowers are falling from the balconies, from above. Everybody's throwing flowers, showering flowers on him, and he has worn a beautiful yellow color garment, and he has worn a beautiful garland of flowers, and it looks like as if there is a dark cloud, because Krishna is dark in color, which is surrounded by moon, sun, lighting, rainbow, stars. At a time, everything is looking so effulgent, so beautiful he is looking. After entering the house of his father, he was embraced by the mothers, and the Lord offered his obeisances to them by placing his head at their feet. The mothers were headed by Devaki. So why are they using the word mothers here is because Vasudeva had many wives. So it was not only Devaki, he had so many wives. So all his wives are like Krishna's stepmothers. So it's not like only his mother. He was paying obeisances to all the mothers. And how did he do it? By putting his head on their feet. Headed by Devaki, he was doing that to everybody. So, here Prabhupada talks about in the purport about 7 mothers, how a wife of a guru is also a mother, the real mother, the wife of a brahmana, the cow, the nurse, the earth, the wife of a king, all are the 7 mothers he talks about in the purport. The next verse, the mothers after embracing their son sat him on their lap. Due to pure affection, milk sprang from their breast. They were overwhelmed with delight and the tears from their eyes wetted the Lord. The Lord is very elder. After the Kurukshetra war means the Lord must be what? Maybe more than 120-year-old, but still when the mothers took the Lord, put the Lord on their lap out of the Vatsalya Bhava, the milk was coming out from their breast. That means so much affection they have for the Lord as their son. Thereafter the Lord entered his palaces, which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them and they were numbered over 16,000. So then after meeting his mothers, he goes and meets his wives, and it's not 1 or 2 wives, more than 16,000 wives were there, and Lord went to meet them. The queens of Lord Krishna rejoiced within their mind to see their husband home after a long period abroad. The queens got up at once from their seat and meditation. As was the social custom, they covered their faces shyly and looked about coyly. So now this ladies, as soon as they heard that now Krishna is entering, wherever they were sitting or they were actually meditating that now he'll come, and then he will ask us this, then he will talk to us. So they were in kind of a meditation, in a trance, just waiting. Then he will enter from here, then what will he ask me? So many things they're thinking. But as soon as they came to know that he's entering, they just got up and they ran to greet him. But as the custom was, they can't immediately go and talk to him. So they have to stand at a safe distance, cover their head and stand there shyly unless he comes and he starts talking to them. That was the custom, So of course, some people may find it like, oh, come on, what is this? But those days, even though the expression was very sober, the emotion was very deep. Nowadays, we see that the husband, wife, or, even in public places, they don't mind to hug each other, and they feel it's very great, to express their love publicly in front of everybody, and they're not shy about it. We see that in the airports and all, immediately they will hug their wives, or, they may, but within 2 minutes they'll start fighting also. So the expression is, the way they, it's like a hyper, but their emotion is very low. With this, what is it, that love at first sight and divorce at first fight, they don't bother. There is no deep emotion. But in the Vedic time, even though the expression was very sober, they will not go run and cling to him or jump and all, but their emotion was so deep. They had such high respect for their husband and such deep love they had for their husband. So the next verse, the inseparable ecstasy was so strong that the queens who were shy, they embraced the Lord in the innermost recesses of their heart. So they can't physically go and hug him, but inside their heart they are imagining that they are hugging him. And then visually, they are, in the by the eyes they are hugging the Lord. And then just because now they can't touch the Lord, so what they did is they send their children, okay, go and hug daddy. So that way they are feel like, they are feeling satisfaction. Okay, when the children are hugging the Lord, they feel they have hugged the Lord. So that way they are feeling happy. So like that, in their mind, with their eyes are embracing the Lord. So actually the eyes are a very very wonderful medium of expressing love, expressing anger. Eyes, in fact, other day I was hearing very interesting thing about different forms of dance. So in that I was hearing that dance can happen through eyes, dance can happen through head, dance can happen through neck, dance can happen through the movement of the waist, dance can happen through the legs, dance can happen with mudras, different mudras, and then sarvanga nritya with the whole body. So independently also there can be a dance only by eyes, simply by moving of eyes also there can be a dance. So like that, expression of love also, even if it's not like physically, just by the way they are looking at the Lord and the Lord is looking, there is an exchange of love happening. They are very affectionately looking at the Lord with their eyes. Then although Lord Krishna was constantly by their side as well as exclusively alone, his feet appeared to them to be newer and newer. The goddess of fortune, although by nature always restless and moving, could not quit Lord's feet. So what woman can detach from those feet, having once taken shelter of them? So now in this verse they are explaining the beauty of Lord's lotus feet. They are saying that actually Mother Lakshmi, her swabhava is chanchala. She cannot sit at one place. She'll be restless. She'll keep moving. But such restless Lakshmi also, because while doing the seva or pada seva of Lord, she gets so attached to the feet that she will not move. She will not go anywhere. She will sit near the Lord's lotus feet only. So the lotus feet must be so beautiful that even Lakshmi Devi, who has a chanchala swabhava, is also not able to move. Then what to speak about Dwarka queens? Though they have many times seen the Lord and had exclusive time with him, but still now when they are seeing his feet, they are feeling it's something new, as if they are seeing for the first time. So it's like that, in fact, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, among the 64 qualities of Krishna, one of the quality of Krishna is Nitya Nutana. Every day Krishna will look new. So nobody can claim that, I already saw him yesterday. If you see, after seeing him yesterday, if you see him today, again you will feel, I never saw him before. Oh, this particular hair I did not see. This way I did not see. Something new they will find. So Lord always looks ever youthful, young and new and beautiful. In fact, there is this very beautiful book called Gaur Govinda Archana Smarana Paddhati by Dhyanachandra Goswami, and he says in that book that Lord is always looks like a 15-year-old boy. To be specific, he looks like a 15-year-old, 9 months, 7.5 days. That's how his age is. And Radharani's age is 14 years, 2 months, 15 days. And constantly they remain on that age only. They will never become older, or they will never look younger than that. They always remain like that. So we can imagine after the Kurukshetra Yuddha means he must be old man now, but there are no white hairs or one or two teeth have come out, because he's actually a grandfather now with hundreds and thousands of grandsons, with 16,108 wife, each having 10 sons, but still looks like a young boy, very beautiful and very sweet smile, and looks new as if they have never seen him before. Next, in fact, that is why in the Kurukshetra war also, some of the soldiers died just by looking at Krishna's beauty, because they were so mesmerized by looking at Krishna that they forgot to use the arrows, and they forgot how is this sword supposed to be used completely. They're just looking at Krishna, and that way they were just leaving their body, and of course that way they were going back home, back to Gaurad. But such is the beauty of the Lord that everybody gets mesmerized. Next verse. The Lord was pacified after killing those kings who were burdensome to the earth. They were puffed up with their military strength, their horses, elephants, chariots, infantry. He himself was not a party in the fight. He simply created hostility between the powerful administrators, and they fought amongst themselves. He was like the wind which causes friction between bamboos and so sparks a fire. Yesterday we spoke about this verse, if you remember, that just like a fire is caused in the forest by the friction, and that friction is caused by wind, similarly Krishna was the cause, but he didn't participate. Now we may think that, what is this rasabhas? We were just talking about very romantic things actually. Krishna is looking at them, and they are looking at Krishna, and there is an embarrassing and new air, and suddenly in between, why Sukadeva Goswami is talking about the war, how the war came here. We are already inside Krishna's chambers, and he's talking so interesting things, and suddenly, so why is he doing this suddenly is that while hearing all this, we may suddenly go off into our Bollywood level of hero, heroine and a romantic scene, and the hero is, so he is again warning, excuse me, please come back. We are talking about the Supreme Lord here, who just now finished a war in Kurukshetra, and he was the cause of that war, and so he is again bringing us back time and again, reminding us that we are not talking about some boy and girl, we are talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why in the next verse again he says, Sayesha Nara Lokesmin, that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, appeared on this planet by his internal potency and enjoyed himself amongst the competent women as if he were engaging in mundane affairs. So he's reminding that, excuse me, please understand this, we are not talking about a normal person, we are talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Out of his causeless mercy, he has come to this world, on his own, independent he is, and he came and he is giving affection to these ladies who are also not normal ladies, they are competent women, they are all so devotees of the Lord, and he is behaving as if he is engaging in some mundane affairs, but he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that we don't start having some different imaginations in our mind. And then again coming back, now after giving us that brief reminder, again he'll come back. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and fruitive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attraction, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. So now he's clarifying that it's not like some mundane affair and the Cupid has thrown his arrows and now the Lord is remembering the queens and the queens are remembering the Lord. He says, no, it's not like that. Cupid can't do anything. Even before, Cupid stands there to put his arrows, he sees that even before he puts the arrows, the Lord is attracted to them and they are attracted to Lord, because this relationship is transcendental and spiritual and it's not based on, mundane, materialistic gunas. That is what he's saying. So though Cupid could have, here you see in the purport, only by unalloyed transcendental loving service they were able to satisfy the Lord. It's not that they were by their feminine attractiveness, it's not that Lord was attracted to the queens because they were so beautiful. No, Lord was attracted to them because they were so spiritual, because they served the Lord, they were devotees of the Lord. So that is what can attract the Lord. So he's saying that thus being satisfied by their unalloyed service only, the Lord reciprocated and service just like a devout husband. Otherwise, he had no business becoming the husband of so many wives. He is the husband of everyone, but to one who accepts him as such, he reciprocates. This unalloyed affection for the Lord is never to be compared to mundane lust. It is purely transcendental. And the grave dealings which the queens displayed in natural feminine ways were also transcendental, because the feelings were expressed out of transcendental ecstasy. So there is nothing mundane here. It's all transcendental. They love the Lord, Lord loved them. There is a spiritual exchange, and it's not some mundane love affair. So one thing I was contemplating on this is that what can attract the Lord? The Lord is supremely beautiful, supremely powerful, supremely famous, supremely rich, supremely opulent, supreme everything. We don't have anything supreme. How can we attract him? So here Prabhupada has given us a hint that only one thing that can attract the Lord is his service. If we serve the Lord, loving service can satisfy the Lord. For service of the devotee, the Lord will melt just to take the service of the devotee. I'm reminded of this one pastime. The Jaipur kings, when the Muslim people, when these Muslim rulers, they were attacking the deities in Vrindavan and all, then all these Vrindavan deities were moved to Jaipur. So the Jaipur king was a custodian of all these principal deities. So when the Jaipur king's daughter was getting married, so she told the father that now I'm getting married, so I also want to take one of the deities with me to my father-in-law's house, because I'm so attached to the deities, so I want to take them. So actually she wants to take all of them, but he said, I can't give you all of them, one deity you can take. She said, which one I should select? So they don't understand what to do. So they wrote a letter to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, that which deity my daughter should take. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said that I cannot differentiate like that between deities. You take this deity is better or that deity is better. How can I do that? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, do one thing. You put all the three principal deities, Radha Gopinathji, Radha Govindji, Radha Madan Mohanji, inside a dark room, and you blindfold your daughter. Put her inside that dark room. Whichever deity she touches first, that deity she can take to her father-in-law's house and worship. So they said fine. So they made all arrangements. They put her in a pitch dark room. All the deities were put there. So now she started walking. Now she has to walk and she has to touch the deity. So as she was passing, she passed through Radha Govindaji. Next Radha Madan Mohanji was standing, and then next Radha Gopinathji was standing. So she passed through Radha Govind. Okay, now she was passing through Radha Madan Mohan and she is going in front. So as she was about to pass Radha Madan Mohan, and now if she passes Radha Madan Mohan and touches Gopinath, she will take Gopinath. But Madan Mohan wanted her service. So now Madan Mohan got worried that Arey, she is just going off and she is not touching me. So what Madan Mohan deity did is, the deity came a little bit forward and touched her. And because she got touched, okay, I have touched the deity, she hold the hand. And then she opened the blindfold, oh, it's Madan Mohan. Then she took Madan Mohan with her to Karoli. The deities are still there in Karoli and worship there, in a beautiful palace-like temple on the top of a hill. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Seva can melt him. He wants to take Seva from her. He came forward, he put his hand a little bit forward and then got touched by her. So only thing that can attract the Lord is Seva, service, when we serve the Lord. So next verse we'll go to. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate that the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. So here an important point is made that the common people, they just compare with the Lord, but they don't understand, what rules apply to them that don't apply to the Lord. They start making judgments. Why Lord has to marry 16,108 wives? His Holiness Radha Govind Swami Maharaj, he gives very good example. He says, suppose if you are in a traffic light and you are driving a car and you see a red light, you will stop the car. But you will not see up in the sky and say, Arey, why this airlines is, why this aircraft is going away? Can't it see there is a red light? Why it's not stopping? Why it's just going? So it will be foolish if you complain like that, because they have different traffic signals. They are above in the air. Their traffic signals, red lights are different. You are on the road. Your traffic light is different. Now if you start criticizing, it's not making sense. Similarly, we are mortal human beings. Our rules and regulations, our do's and don'ts are different. We can't compare with the Supreme Lord. Why is he marrying, or why is he speaking like this? Why is he doing like this? So common materialistic conditioned soul, they speculate that Lord is one of them, and out of the ignorance they think that Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. So Lord does not get affected, and he doesn't have any law of karma applicable to him or something like that. We'll go to the next verse. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. Such a wonderful point, that Lord, he is not affected by material nature. And even a devotee who has taken the shelter of the Lord will not be influenced by material qualities. Why? Because he is taking shelter of the Lord. See, you see, in the airport, when the child is very young, the mother will carry the child on her shoulders. If you go for a security check, the small baby, they will not separately check. That child will go off with the mother. It doesn't have to stand in line separately. But if the boy is a little bit elder, then he has to go on his own. Similarly, those who have taken shelter of the Lord, they are in the Lord's lap. For them, everything becomes easy. They will not get affected by material qualities. Just like if we are driving on the road, we have to face traffic. But if we are airlifted, then the traffic below will not affect us, because we are airlifted by the Lord. So similarly, when we have taken the shelter of the Lord directly, then no material qualities will will not get influenced by them. We have come now to the last verse. The simple and delicate woman truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. They were unaware of the extent of the glories of their husband, as the atheists are unaware of him as the supreme controller. So these wives of Lord, they really, they had so much affection or authority or confidence or intimate feeling that he's our husband, and look how he listens to us, and he's a henpecked husband, he's dominated by us, he's ours. Just like those cowherd boys used to think, oh Krishna, tumi ami sama, oh what do you think you are? We are same in strength. They never thought about Lord as God. Here also the women, they're not thinking about him as a supreme personality of Godhead. They're thinking about him as their own husband, and that is a very simple and delicate woman. That is how they are thinking about the Lord. So with this we come to the end of this chapter, Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. But in the coming chapter now, Saunak Rishi will remind that where have we drifted to? I am asking you about Parikshit Maharaj. So now you please tell me about Parikshit Maharaj. What exactly happened to him? So in between there was this elaboration of these 2 chapters. But now again that story will continue, that what happened to the womb of Uttara, what happened to Parikshit, and then there will be explanation about Emperor Parikshit's birth and some other interesting thing, how Dhritarashtra Maharaj will quit home, and these chapters will come in future. So with this, I will end it here. We completed yesterday and today chapter number 10 and chapter number 11, the farewell party and the welcome party, the farewell from Hastinapur and the welcome party at Dwarka. So with this, I'll end it here. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.